All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the second half of day 2. We got 6 interviews down. We got 6 more to go here. Today is the long day of interviews, and I couldn't be more excited to be doing this. So thanks again to the Forrester team for making this possible. Sales Pipeline Radio live on the Forrester B2B Summit floor next to the Giant Boot. This episode, very excited to have with us Lindsay Groper. She's the Executive VP of Biz Dev and Marketing for Pan Blast. And, we've talked about a bunch of different things we could cover in this session, but I thought 20 minutes of Georgia football might be more fun.
Let's go. Where do you want to start?
Well, I got a buddy who was a Georgia alum, and his youngest daughter is going to Oregon, which as a Washington fan really bothers me, but for him it's kind of whatever. His youngest daughter is down to Georgia and Florida.
Gainesville is a cesspool.
I know.
So that's really all I have to say about that.
Okay, so here's my challenge here, right? So like my oldest is 17. She's a junior. She thinks she's looking at schools now, and she's always thought she wanted to go to UW, right? Just that's where her parents went. Good school. It's close to home. She doesn't want to go that far away, but she's a math and science whiz. She's like girls in STEM. Just couldn't be prouder. She wants to do environmental engineering, and the best environmental engineering program in the area is Washington State. And as much as I could sit here and say, like, moving up from California, like, the Apple Cup, our big rivalry, like, it's nothing like, cocktail party, right? But you come up to Apple Cups is a rivalry, but if you're a Washington fan, you kind of consider Wazoo kind of your dumb little brother, right? Where you'll make fun of him, beat him up, but if anyone else tries to beat him up, you're like, no, cool, we're a family here. Oregon's different. Oregon is our cesspool. Those are terrible people who made poor life choices.
And their school's just in a terrible, downtrodden town. And
unfortunately, Eugene's pretty wonderful.
Yeah.
But
Gainesville's not.
Gainesville's not.
Mm-mm.
Okay. I've never been to Gainesville. Never been to Athens. I've been to Neyland Stadium. That's as close to an SEC game as I've been.
Neyland's awesome.
I went to Neyland in August one year.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's about to fall down. It's like 170 years old.
Yeah, it's taken a beating for sure over the years. But yeah, Athens, you should go. I mean, Athens is. People equate it to Bloomington, like IU Bloomington, Indiana campus. It's beautiful.
I love
a lot
it.
of architecture and really cool music scene. Great downtown.
So my sports bucket list at this point, like I've been to most of the baseball stadiums I want to go to. At number 1 is Augusta, and I'll go in July. I just want to walk the course. There doesn't have to be golf happening, but I want Augusta for the Masters is top, and then 2 through like 90 is like it's the college stadiums as well as the iconic games.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so a game in Sanford Stadium, yes, but also a cocktail party game. Like, just there's those games that are just, even if they're in neutral fields, it's just like there's something. What is it about college football?
I mean, I was not a college football fan growing up.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Cincinnati.
Okay.
We had like the UC Bearcats, but football really wasn't it necessarily. So
Yeah.
I didn't get really exposure to college football until I went to Georgia, and then it was like slap in the face. Holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I cuss on this show?
Sure, why
Okay.
not? Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, where has this been my whole life?
Yeah.
And just the amount of passion that people have, and it's new passion. That's one of the things I loved about it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Is like, I didn't have any long history with the Georgia Bulldogs,
Yeah.
but the second that I get on campus, like, this is my team.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
hold it so close. And to me, it's when you get into the professional sports, it becomes much more individual performance.
Yeah.
This is just opinion.
Yeah.
Whereas college, it just seems there's a lot more passion on the field. Now, there's a lot of things that have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Transfer portal, NIL that's a whole other episode we could talk about that has changed it quite a bit. But it is awesome. But our cocktail party Georgia-Florida game is leaving for the next 2 years from Jacksonville.
Where's it going to play?
Going to go Atlanta and then Tampa.
Okay.
Because Jacksonville Stadium is being renovated.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're all going to descend on
wherever it takes. I think the other thing is when you think about like who you associate with versus who you identify with. Like there's a big difference. Like, I mean, I'm a Cubs fan. My dad raised me a Cubs fan, and it's sort of a family thing, but like I like going to games. I like the Cubs. My sons like the Mariners because we live in Seattle. But like I am a Husky.
Right.
Like I went to school there.
Right.
So like it's not just someone I enjoy watching. It's part of my identity. There's
For
a
sure.
shared identity, not just with the team, but with everyone else tailgating there every Saturday. Like we are one big family.
Yes.
And that you can do all the Steelers Nation stuff you want, but it's different
I agree.
in college.
I agree. And it because you lived it every day, and especially when you go to big football programs, like it's every single day, everywhere you look, it's bringing in all the money. Same thing, raised in Cincinnati. I'm not a Cincinnati Red diehard.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to the games.
Yeah.
We'll cheer for them.
Yeah.
But I don't feel it in my bones of like, it doesn't affect me emotionally.
Yeah.
When
the way the college does.
Yeah.
So I listened to a podcast called The Solid Verbal, and it's a couple guys, like one went to Penn State, one went to Oregon, and they just started talking about college football twice a week, years ago, and they still do it. And they talk about the emotional side of college football a lot and the crazy side of college football. And they have what they call it's called Solid Verbal. They call their followers the Verballers, and they have a Verballer line open on Saturdays so you can call and leave a message. And on their Sunday recap show, they'll play voicemails for people that called in.
That is so great.
And most of them are people just emotionally reacting towards the end of their game.
Yes.
90% are when they lost,
It's
right?
so
Where
great.
you may have had a beverage or four and your team lost. And like, again, if it's even as big a Cup fan as I am, if they lose, I'm like, that really sucks. But like, okay, like it bothers me way more when the Huskies lose.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen? There's all these reels right now on Instagram where it's people are turning their texts into songs. So it's
Okay.
like it's either like an emo song
Yeah.
or it's like an upbeat pop song.
Yeah.
I want to do that to my Georgia group text
Okay.
and turn that into like do like a funny, soft, peaceful music overlay, but with the lyrics being what comes out of our group chat
Is
during
this a safe
season.
for work kind of a song?
It would definitely not be safe for work at all. But it is a group of men and women. We were all former athletes at Georgia.
Yeah.
Very intense. And when things are bad, that group text, it actually is so funny the next day
Yeah.
to go back and read the rage.
Half the things
And-
people don't remember saying.
Yes. So great.
So I don't think I knew this. Like, what did you play?
I played soccer.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. It
Um,
was a good time.
I played soccer too, but it was like the dorm intramural, right?
Sure.
Probably a different level of
Yeah.
competition.
A little
but,
bit.
Yeah, but we had fun. All right. Well, I literally could talk about this
Me
for
too.
the whole
This
time.
is great.
But we got to start somewhere. All right. So you started Blast like 20 years ago. You've been
Mm-hmm.
doing this for a very long time. You've seen quite the evolution of B2B in that time. What's one of the biggest things that's changed, and what's one of the biggest things that absolutely has not?
Good question. Yeah, so we, just to put it in context, when you think about 20 plus years ago, I mean, we started Blast before social media,
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
iPhones. So there were really only a handful of mediums available. It was you advertised,
Yeah.
you did PR, there was word of mouth, outdoor, but Google existed, certainly, but not
Yep.
as it does today. The one thing that hasn't changed is actually the thing that's like rubbing me right now and annoying me right now, which is that credibility has always mattered. Third-party validation, always powerful.
Yeah.
Trust, always been a driver of currency.
Yeah.
But now, the bots are now validating, oh, wow, credibility compounds, all this stuff matters. It's like, yeah, we've been saying this literally
Yeah.
since the history of our profession.
Yeah.
So that has not changed.
Yeah.
That has always been true. And now PR is just having a bit of a like it girl moment with AI visibility, which great.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
What has changed is the sheer amount of media and mediums that are available. And people used to come to us for media relations because that was really one of 3 channels. And what's interesting is people will still come to us for only media relations. And we have to say, like, that is not enough.
Yeah.
Like, we can do that,
Yeah.
but that is not going to give you what you need ultimately. So that has changed quite a bit, is that you really can't just do media relations and think that is going to drive
Yeah.
your credibility, visibility.
I would
only if
imagine
you're
it's a
earned.
bit of a red flag when someone comes and says, if I just get in the New York Times, we'll be fine. We don't have to do
Still
anything
happens,
else." Oh,
Matt.
yeah.
It's in my question always backs, okay, why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you sell to like deep dev nerds, and I promise you
They're
that
not reading
they're
that.
not reading that.
Right. Right.
So, but there's still this idea, or we get all the time TechCrunch. We want to be in TechCrunch. I'm like,
All right.
oh my god, is this like, yeah, nothing on TechCrunch. TechCrunch is great. Same with the Wall Street Journal, but we still get that.
Yeah.
But you just have to think about why. What is it? What do you think that's actually going to do for you?
Yeah. On the Forrester B2B Summit floor with Lindsay Groper, she's the co-founder of Blast Media and executive VP of Business Development Marketing. Basically means you're the rainmaker at Pan Blast.
I try to be
No.
oversee all things revenue.
Well, anytime I think, like, if I see an up and coming company and they're like, who can help us with our PR? Like, you guys are the first person I think about, given
Thank
the
you.
reputation you have and all the results you've generated. And it must, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does it bother you, given what you just said, when people say, hey, PR's back? You're like, fuck you. It's always been here.
So we can cuss on this show.
Now I decided that this episode, we're going to put a little E next to it. It's fine.
I opened up the floodgates.
You did, so just knock yourself out.
Great. Yeah, it is quite annoying. Because, well, you've lived in the agency world for quite some time as well. Sort of all ebbs and flow on the demands and the thoughts around it.
Yep.
But the reality is, I've said this and I will always say it, is that scaling revenue wins quarters, but a strong brand wins categories. That has not changed.
Yep.
It will not change. And even today, it probably is even more true, just based on, where we are with AI visibility, which I do believe is going to all even out and, course correct and get back to normal at some point. But right now it's just a big black box and no one can figure it out. But it's annoying, but it's also great because there's a demand for what it is that we do. So I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, yes. And your point about like media relations versus sort of, and even just beyond sort of PR, the way people traditionally think about it. Like one of my first jobs out of school, I was an intern at a PR agency in Seattle, and you were writing press releases and calling reporters, and did you get this? And it was all, it was about the clip book and getting all that. There's still a lot of like optics and credibility in getting all of that. But if my job is just to get media coverage, that may not necessarily attract my audience. Like I was at a company, and it was like they were in real estate and they were excited they got into a travel publication. I'm like, so talk about the evolution there, if not only from a who is our audience standpoint, but from a storytelling standpoint. Because that same founder that wants to be in TechCrunch says, what is the story? And he's like, well, just us and what we
our
do,
product.
right? And what we do. Everyone's going to want to know that. It's like, no one wants to know that.
Literally.
How do you coach clients on audience and story?
So the audience is super fragmented, as you know. And to your point, a singular media hit will hit a portion of your audience briefly. So what we have to really figure out is, where does your audience live? So specifically, title, what's the title into which you're selling? What's the industry? And then we just build this ecosystem around them. Where are they going to get their information? Not necessarily their news, but where are they influenced? And fortunately, there are more tools than you could ever imagine that give you insights into audience data to help us figure out where we're going to start. And the great thing with AI visibility tools is when we pull reports for our clients on AI Viz, what we're looking at is how are they appearing in certain prompts versus competitors, but more specifically, and what sources are the LLMs deeming as authoritative. So for us, that really helps shape our strategy of, yes, there is trade media being indexed way more than there is national press. So let's focus on the trades, but also we're seeing like executive LinkedIn. Those are always the top sources for specific prompts. So coaching our clients on why they need to contribute to LinkedIn, allowing us to write on their behalf to contribute on LinkedIn. So figuring out where your audience is influenced and to build that trust. I think about it like the people that I trust in my personal life, they built that trust because they show up consistently. They do what they say they're going to do. And they tell me hard truths, sometimes when it hurts. And the same is true for brands. We have to show up where people expect us, and we have to back up our words, and we have to do what we say we're going to do. And so we take that same like building trust lens through PR efforts. And yes, so it is media relations. It is LinkedIn. Trust us when we tell you that if you're active already on Reddit, host a Reddit AMA. Trust us when we tell you that there's a specific podcast like Sales Pipeline Radio that is going to be influential to your audience. And not overly focus on when can we get a feature in the Wall Street Journal. Because the answer is actually never, because you're small and they just don't do that. But there are ways to get in there.
So what I'm hearing from you is your challenges are similar to ours. Like we're fully focused on pipeline, and everyone's looking for the easy button. Everyone wants one channel. We're just going to do this, and it's all going to work. We're just going to get in the Journal or New York Times, and everything's going to work. And the answer is far more complex. You need to work a matrix and a body of work, and there is very much a playbook for doing that if you're willing to follow it. And in many cases, kind of lean into a little more complexity than you expected, but it works.
It does work, and we do have a checklist of like what makes a client go from good to great. And our number one thing that we've just established as an agency is when our clients have a say yes mindset.
Nice.
And that is, yes, involves some trust, but you're hiring us for a reason, but we want you to say yes and just open up your mind to, okay, this isn't what I thought. This isn't maybe what I was expecting in terms of strategy or where to go, but have a say yes mindset and trust us that we're recommending this stuff for a reason. And you're all about driving pipeline, and certainly that even has a bigger sense of immediacy than what we do. But for us, I mean, it's, we always laugh because it's like, we're so impatient as marketers. Everybody is.
Oh, yeah.
And we always say, like, you can't just turn on the PR switch and think it's just going to like work. So when you start with the PR program, it's like anything else. It's like a sales pipeline, truly. It takes your first 90 days. It's building pipeline, creating the opportunity. You're going to get early wins, right? Yeah. But you're building the relationships. You're getting early wins. And we're always like, trust us, guys. Month 4, trust us. Yeah. Like, everything becomes more predictable. Yeah. All of the work that we've put in, but like, you got to wait and trust us. It will happen.
I hadn't thought about this in forever. Like, I remember we actually had a kind of a pipeline report. Maybe you guys do as well. So there's the stuff that like gets published. Look, you got here. But we would kind of say, here's all the conversations we're having on your behalf. And so is working on a special edition of whatever, but it doesn't come out till June, but we're working on having this angle go into that. So even if they weren't seeing immediate results, they were like, oh, I can see that something is building here. Yeah. In the same way that today, I'm like, oh, you don't just magically close deals. Like, here's the demand you're seeing. Here's the qualified pipeline you're seeing. Here's the multi-threaded buying group that is now engaged together. And so you can see evidence of that momentum over time. All right, we're starting to run out of time. Since we broke the seal on swearing, can we talk about drinking now?
Oh my gosh, yes. Football and drinking and swearing, Matt.
Best day ever.
Oh my gosh.
Season 5 of SaaS Half Full. We were talking before we got started about like what I think would be the ideal scenario for a live SaaS Half Full podcast coming to a conference near you. Share with us your vision. If you're listening and you're doing a conference and you would like to have Lindsay do what she's about to describe, give us a call. We'll hook you up.
Yeah, so I'm sitting here with Matt in person at the Forrester B2B Summit. He has a little recording studio set up, which is awesome. And I said, Matt, I want to do this because I run SaaS Half Full. Been running it for, 6 years or so, where my whole shtick is that I send my guests a cocktail or a mocktail kit of their choice, and we share a drink on the show. Yeah. Love it. Would love to do that in person at events. And my vision is that, this involves me drinking a lot during the day, but that's okay. Where we set up like a bar situation, recording studio, and I have guests come in and we talk about all things SaaS and AI marketing. I would have to get some clearance to serve alcohol, I'm sure, at a show. But if there are certain shows that you think this would be a great fit for, let me know.
So the bar is the show. We're sitting here. It's a square table. It's very nice. Thank you, Forrester. Shout out to Amanda for making all this possible. But like, you literally are on a stool at a bar, drinking and talking about whatever you want to talk about. I think that would be phenomenal. Your question about alcohol, it's a conference center. Of course there's alcohol. So like, it's just a matter of like the timing of it all. One of my favorite things to do if I'm moderating a session that is like right before the happy hour at a conference, I'll set it up in advance and I'll have everyone sort of go around. It's like, okay, if everyone on the panel, introduce yourself, who you are, and like, what's your drink? What's your drink at the happy hour after this? And like, someone in the back I have taking notes. And right before we get to Q&A, a tree comes up and they get their drinks. And so they get the first piece of drink. So 5 seasons of SaaS Half Full. Where can people find that?
Anywhere that you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. So we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, our own website. And if you're interested in being a guest on SaaS Half Full, also hit me up on LinkedIn at Lindsay Groper.
So right before we started recording, you mentioned that I chuckled. I chuckled because I could, for whatever reason, I flashed to Pat McAfee standing on his chair yelling, "Who's that coming down the tracks?"
Yes. Pat McAfee's recording studio is like literally like 2 miles from my house. I pass it almost every day.
That's awesome.
So if you were a crazy Pat McAfee fan, you could easily get into, it's an old church that he transformed into his studio.
That's pretty impressive. I think, so Pat McAfee's one of those guys, like I remember back in the day, what was his name? The shock jock, still on now. Howard Stern.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's still on.
He's still on.
Wow.
More people listened to Howard Stern that didn't like Howard Stern than listened to him that liked him. And I have to imagine Pat McAfee might have a bit of a polarizing audience like that too.
Yeah, I mean, he's insane.
Yeah. Okay. So this is being recorded. I don't know if you know him well. Like, thoughts on McAfee on game day, good or bad or neutral?
At first, I was unsure because
Yeah.
he's just so bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But I will say it has brought a really good energy. And the thing I like is that all the other hosts of Game Day
Yeah.
think he's so freaking funny because
Yeah.
he's just like their little crazy brother who does like dumb
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
And they think it's so funny. So it's brought, like, for me, I think it's brought a really good energy to it. You know, because you had Lee Corso, who love him, but, you
Yeah.
know, he was getting crusty
Yeah.
and we needed some new energy in there, and he's definitely brought it. I mean,
He's brought
insane.
it. I mean, like, you know, Corso, like he was getting to a point where, like, you know, bless his heart, like, you know, had his stroke and was just getting old. And Nick Saban's phenomenal at the X's and O's, but is not exactly
Oh
sort of the
my
effusive
God,
personality.
don't even get me started.
No. Okay, now we're not quite done
I
that.
know.
Okay, we're gonna keep. So, but I like the interaction between Saban and McAfee because I think they kind of play off each other quite
Yeah.
nicely. I think there is a high level of respect for that. I think in part, and I think you can see because Saban shows up on McAfee's show quite a bit, especially once you get into the playoffs. I look at this from a distance, right? I don't have the emotional connection as an SEC fan and alum. I look at Saban as someone that I think I have a lot of respect for.
No, totally.
Yeah.
I agree. I respect him immensely. How can you not?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
He's a great
Maybe
coach.
you
How can you not?
I don't know.
But
if
he
you're an
was-
Auburn fan, maybe you got all kinds of
But
reasons.
he had as a coach, right?
Yeah.
He has his personality,
Yeah.
and it's super dry, and whatever
Yeah.
the male version of resting bitch face is, he has it. And so I'm like, okay, he's done. He's retired.
Yeah.
He's going to be on game day. We're
Yeah.
finally going to see
Yeah.
Saban's personality,
Yeah.
and then
No.
still, I'm like, okay. I thought maybe he was just like intentionally under control.
Maybe
No,
that's it. Maybe that's it.
That's it. That
Yeah.
is literally
I
it.
think that's it.
That is his personality.
Well, not everyone can be Dabo Sweeney. Not everyone can be. I do like watching a little Kirby Smart on the sideline pretending he didn't call a timeout when everyone knows he called a timeout. You know what I'm talking about.
I do. Kirby was at school when I was. He was a senior when I was a sophomore, I believe. Dated one
Okay.
of my teammates. So I have some in the vault pictures with partying with Kirby.
We're gonna come next year. We're gonna do video and we're gonna have a lot more fun with this. Thank you so much for doing this. This has been fun. We get to talk a little work. We get to talk a little drinking. We get to talk a little college football.
Perfect.
We'll do it again soon.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.